What's up guys, Zach's in Good Time Gaming, and today I'm bringing you a refresh of an older build of mine, the Samurai Jacket build that I posted back before all the skills changed. I decided I want to do a refresh of it, see if we can get a little bit more power out of our melee builds now than we could back then. And, you know, melee is not something you see a lot of. It's kind of fun here and there, but not the most effective thing in the world. I want to be kind of abundantly clear with this build, that unlike my other builds that I've posted up until this point, this one is not safe on Deathwish. I've tried several different combinations, I've tried several different ways to make it Deathwish viable, and I just have not found it. The problem is that the cops on Deathwish just do so much damage, and they're very capable of punching through your armor in just a few shots, which will basically kill you at that point. So, now I have tried it a little bit on Deathwish, and in some situations you can make it work. As long as there's only a couple of cops around you, then it's okay. But generally speaking, it's just not good on Deathwish. So keep it to overkill or below. But having said that though, it's a lot of fun. So let's get to it. I'll show you guys this build, and we will play around with some. First off, it's important to know that for this build, you're going to need the Digital Deluxe Edition of Hotline Miami 2 Wrong Number. So it's not even Payday 2 DLC you need per se, it's Hotline Miami DLC. So if you don't own the game, or if you're in a territory where it's banned right now, like Australia, then sorry, but you can't really run the build. For everyone else though, if you have the DLC, if you have the perk deck, then we can do it and we can have some fun. Starting off with our skills in Enforcer, we're going to ace Underdog. Doing this will make it so that whenever we have 3 or more enemies within 18 meters, we receive a 15% damage bonus and damage reduction for 7 seconds. Given that we're mostly in melee range, this is very easy to achieve and you'll pretty much always have this going. We're going to take ace version of Shotgun CQB to give us 15% faster reload on our shotguns, and an additional 35% faster reload, plus we gain 125% increased steel sight zoom speed with shotguns. We'll take Shotgun Impact to increase our weapon stability with all shotguns by 8, and to deal 5% more damage, on top of an additional 10% more damage with shotguns. We will take the basic version of Overkill. By doing so, we'll get a 75% damage boost every time we kill an enemy with a shotgun, which will last 20 seconds. Over in Tank, we will ace Resilience. We will get a 15% armor recovery rate, and will also reduce the visual effect of flashbangs by 75%. We will ace Shock and Awe. We'll gain a 25% increased armor recovery rate, and it will also allow us to knock back shields with our melee attack, which is very handy and very useful. We're using the ICTV armor, so we're not super fast, but doing this we can just knock through enemies' shields no problem. We'll go ahead and ace Bullseye. By doing that, we'll get 25 armor every 2 seconds, assuming we get headshots. Now bear in mind that the melee strikes that you will use do not actually count towards this, so this is only with your guns. And last but not least, we're going to ace Iron Man, which will give us 30% more armor and also unlock the ICTV armor for us to use. Heading over into Ghost, we have a few skills that we're going to be picking up here. We're going to take Duck and Cover to give us 25% faster regeneration on our stamina and also let us move 25% faster. We'll take the basic version of Parkour to give us an additional 10% movement speed and allow us to climb ladders 20% faster. And I've actually been going and taking Shockproof Ace. With that, we'll be able to free ourselves from the taser if we use the use button within 2 seconds of getting tased. This one's kind of optional, but honestly this build's kind of more of a fun build, so I went ahead and put that on there just so I can have a little bit of fun with it, and it's very satisfying to use. We'll take the first rank of Second Wind, which will increase our movement speed by 30% when our armor breaks for 5 seconds. And we will take the basic version of Optical Illusions. This will make us 45% less likely to be targeted by enemies. This is important because we're going to be in melee range, so we don't want to get shot in the face by everybody. This will basically spread some of that pain around to other people and keep us alive a little bit longer. In Fugitive, we will ace 9 lives. Doing so will give us 15% increase in our bleed out health, and we'll also be able to go down 1 more time before going into custody. Doing so will allow us to keep on fighting for 9 seconds after we have been down, so once you take fatal health damage, you'll keep on going for 9 seconds. This will allow you to either shoot enemies or try and get into cover or get somewhere where your teammates can recover you, because you're probably going to be out fighting a little bit. Now over in Brawler, we will take everything in Brawler, except for Frenzy at the very top. We'll only take the basic version of Frenzy. Under Martial Arts, we will take 50% less damage from all melee attacks, so it's like if a cop hits us, the damage is half. We'll also be 50% more likely to knock down enemies with melee strikes. We will ace Bloodthirst. Every kill we get will increase our next melee attack by 100%, up to 300% total. This effect gets reset when striking an enemy with a melee attack. And whenever we kill an enemy with a melee attack, we gain a 50% increase in reload speed for 10 seconds. We will ace Pumping Iron to do 50% more damage against special and non-special enemy types. We will ace Counter Strike. By doing so, we'll be able to counterattack any enemy that punches us or hits us within melee range. This includes Cloakers. This only works whenever you're charging your attack, so if you're charging up an attack and a Cloaker comes up to try and punch you in the face, then guess what? His ass gets knocked down. This also works with regular cops. Does not work with bulldozers, unfortunately, but works with everything else. We will ace Berserker. By doing so, whenever our health is below 50%, we will do 250% more melee damage, and it will also allow us to do 100% more damage with our ranged weapons as well. We will take the basic version of Frenzy. By doing so, we only get 30% of our maximum health, and we cannot heal above it, but we will take 30% less damage in our health damage whenever we're attacked by an enemy, so that's kind of helpful. The healing we get is also reduced by 75%. So really the only reason that we take Frenzy is to ensure that we always have enough HP to where we can get the benefit of Berserker. So that's going to really pump up our melee strikes quite a bit. When it comes to weapons, it doesn't really matter what you take. I've been using the Raven shotgun with AP slugs. It's fairly strong and allows you to punch through shields at a distance, which is also helpful. I like to combine that with HE rounds as my secondary. Right now I'm using the Street Sweeper shotgun. So with that, I can knock out Bulldozer's armor, go up to him, shoot him in the face a couple times, and they're dead. I can get shields from a distance, I can get snipers from a distance. I can knock down a large group of cops and just go in there and cut them all up to pieces. It's a nice combination, really. For our perk deck, we'll be taking the Sociopath Perk Deck. No Talk will make it so that whenever we are within medium range of an enemy, we'll receive 8% less damage. Tension will make us regenerate 30% armor by killing an enemy. It cannot occur more than once every 2 seconds. Clean Hit will make it so that whenever we kill an enemy with a melee weapon, we regenerate 10% of our health. It cannot occur more than once every 2 seconds. Overdose will make it so that whenever we kill an enemy at medium range, we regenerate 30 armor. This cannot occur more than once every 2 seconds. And last but not least, Showdown. Killing an enemy at medium range has a 75% chance to spread panic among your enemies. Panic will make enemies go into short bursts of uncontrollable fear. This cannot occur more than once every 2 seconds. So if you kill a guy with one of your attacks, there's a chance that all of his buddies are going to start cowering, they're not going to be shooting at you, they're going to be sitting there crying. They'll get back up and then they'll start shooting at you again. So it's a perfect opportunity whenever that happens to get in there and cut up some more guys and kill some more people. It's wonderful. Now if you notice, this build does not have an ace deployable. If you would like to take one and help out your teammates, then you can go ahead and pull points out of Shockproof. And you can also take the points out of Fugitive and go ahead and put those over into, say, Uppers over here. Or you can go Doctor Bag and get that. You could also go and get ammunition if you wanted to. It's really just kind of up to you. This build really could use the extra little boost in it. So it's one of the few times I actually recommend just kind of worrying about yourself and less about the teammate. But it's always a good idea to help out your friends. So I'll kind of leave it up to you guys as to what you guys want to do with that. But for my build, I'm going ahead and using the Fugitive version here with Swan Song. Just because it gives you a little bit more leeway, a little bit more flexibility, and survivability. So as far as melee weapons go, once again I recommend the Shinsakudo Katana. This is part of the Yakuza character pack, the one that came with Jiro. It looks pretty sweet, but aside from that, it's very, very strong. You can get a total damage output of 675 for a single swing if you charge it all the way. The knockdown is also pretty respectable given the quicker nature of the weapon. It's got a great range too, so in general it's just a great weapon altogether. Another weapon you could bring is the Ice Pick. It's basically identical to the Shinsakudo Katana, except that its range is just a little bit shorter. And also the Pounder is also an option, but it has an even shorter range than the last two weapons together. If you don't have any of those DLCs at all, then the Lucille baseball bat might be okay. This is a community item, so if you're part of the Payday 2 group, then you'll have this item available to you. You can also use the Fire Axe from the Hotline Miami DLC. The weapon stats on it are basically identical to the Shinsakudo Katana, so that's an option as well. But I like the Katana, so that's what I'm going to use. We have our primary, secondary, and melee weapons selected. We have our perk deck. We have our skills. We are ready to go in-game and kick some ass and see how this thing works. Alright, so you guys will see here pretty quickly that on Overkill, pretty much everything will die in one hit. Tasers will die with a little bit of a charge on it. Most of the cops will die with a one hit. The tan swats die. Everything dies. Really, you just run around and you hit people in the face with your sword or with your axe or bat, or whatever it is you're using. Run around, kill people. You can see the taser there pulls a little disappearing act and vanishes. Kind of nice. Guess he was afraid of me. The goal of this build really is to move as fast as you can and keep on moving, keep on killing everything. In one version of this build, I kind of debated on taking Joker, so I could have some backup cops with me, extra movement speed, you know, that kind of thing. But really, it kind of takes away from the whole point of the build, which is to just kill people and move very quickly between targets. So sitting there trying to intimidate a cop to get him to surrender, you can't really melee them because you'll kill them in one hit with melee. So you'd have to use your secondary HE rounds to try and knock their health down a little bit. So it's kind of a pain in the ass. I decided not to do Joker because of that. You can see I counterattack a Cloaker there. I cut him until he's down. Fuck you, Cloaker. Another thing worth mentioning is that I know some people are probably going to ask about the Yakuza perk deck. So I tried the Yakuza perk deck. It's not bad. It's a nice alternative, I guess, if you're looking for something to use besides Sociopath. but I found it wasn't really as reliable in keeping me alive, because with the Yakuza perk deck, you have to stop taking damage at some point to get your armor back. If you can't stop taking damage, then you aren't going to get your armor back. With this one, I can just keep on going, and as long as I'm not taking too much from one enemy or from anything in general, I can just go as long as I want to and keep on hitting targets over and over and over again, and not worry about having to get out of combat for a little bit to get my armor back. You can see here I take advantage of the spawning mechanics in this game. I just like literally spawn camp the 4 cops. It's kind of sad actually if you really think about it. They all die in one hit. This is pretty easy to do just with any gun in general, but of course other guns you have to reload, and eventually the spawns can get ahead of you to where you can't keep on doing this. But with melee, I just, you know, one slice, one slice, one slice, it's just disgusting. When it comes to bulldozers, I don't recommend trying to melee them. You can, but in general it doesn't really go that well. I would suggest instead just using HE rounds to knock their armor off and then killing them with your primary. That's a much safer, much more effective means of doing so to get rid of them. Overall, Samurai Jacket's a really fun build. It's not one that I really keep on my list of builds I use in game a lot, but it's something I pull out every once in a while if I want to do something different and have a little bit of fun with the game. I think it's enjoyable, I think you guys will like it too, but just bear in mind that it's more of a fun build. It's not meant to be used on Deathwish, and like I said, I have not really had much luck with it on Deathwish. You're welcome to try. If you find something better, let me know, and I'll see if I can't post that and give you some credit for it. But I've not found a good way to make it viable for Deathwish. So let me know what you guys think of this build. Let me know what you guys think of the builds I've posted so far. Personally, I am a big fan of the Berserker. That's probably my favorite one so far that I've posted. I'm just really a big fan of Berserker in general, and that one has that, so yeah, I like that. This has been a good time gaming. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share if you like anything you saw today. And remember to always have a good time gaming.